Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Amandeep Luthar, Senior Resident in ENT Department, Bharati Vidyapeeth Medical College, Sangli. Our topic of discussion today is acute tonsillitis. Acute tonsillitis results due to acute inflammation of the surface epithelium, tonsil crypts, and lymphoid tissue of the tonsil. Most commonly, it is caused by bacterial and viral infections. Viral tonsillitis is usually a part of generalized pharyngitis, while bacterial infections are usually localized to the tonsils itself. The most common organism to cause acute tonsillitis is group A beta hemolytic streptococcus. Staphylococci, pneumococci, and H. influenzae are the other causative organisms. Viral infections like infectious mononucleosis is also common. Both male and female are equally affected. It is most commonly seen in school going children during the seasons of autumn and winter. Brudisky grading is the most common grading system used in the OPD. It is expected from all the students to know this classification. Grade 0 usually indicates that the tonsils are limited inside the fossa itself. Grade 1 indicates that the tonsil is almost 25% of the total oropharyngeal space. Tonsils occupying 25 to 50% of the oropharyngeal space are graded as grade 2, while 50 to 75% indicate grade 3. Grade 4 shows tonsil hypertrophy of about 75%. These tonsils may or may not touch each other. Friedman grading is another grading system. This shows that grade 0 there is no tonsil seen on examination. Grade 1 the tonsil will be limited to the fossa. Grade 2 the tonsils are visible beyond the anterior pillars. Grade 3 the tonsils are extended 3/4 of the way to midline, and in grade 4 they will be touching each other. Classification of acute tonsillitis includes acute catarrhal tonsillitis, acute follicular tonsillitis, acute parenchymatous tonsillitis, and acute membranous tonsillitis. Acute catarrhal tonsillitis is usually generalized type of pharyngitis. Here you can see that there is cross edema as well as erythema over the anterior pillars, uvula, and tonsils. This is mostly caused due to viral infections. Acute follicular tonsillitis occurs due to infection in the crypts of the tonsil. Here you can appreciate the white spots over the tonsil. The tonsil is grossly edematous and red. You can also appreciate the redness of the posterior pharyngeal wall. Acute parenchymatous tonsillitis shows gross enlargement of the tonsils as well as erythema or redness over the tonsillar region. This infection occurs due to infection of the lymphoid tissue of tonsil. Acute membranous tonsillitis is the stage next to follicular tonsillitis. The follicles that were earlier present over the crypts coalesce to form a membrane-like structure over the surface of this tonsil. Patients suffering from acute tonsillitis will complain of low-grade fever with chills and rigor. These patients usually complain of odynophagia that is, pain while swallowing, and dysphagia, which means difficulty in swallowing. Otalgia can also be one of the presenting features where which means that the patient will complain of earache even though the pathology is present in the throat. Patient might also complain of headaches, generalized body aches, malaise, constipation, and also abdominal pain. On examination, you will observe that these patients have a bad odor. The tongue usually is coated, and the oropharynx will show that there is redness over the pillars, soft palate, and uvula. When you will examine the neck of these patients, you can appreciate the enlarged jugulogastric lymph nodes, which may be tender as well. Depending upon the type of acute tonsillitis, as we had seen earlier in the pictures, acute follicular tonsillitis will show red swollen tonsils with yellowish spots present over the crypt openings. Acute membranous tonsillitis will show a whitish membrane over the medial surface of tonsil, which can be easily wiped off. Acute parenchymatous tonsillitis will show large congested, that is erythematous tonsils, which are enlarged enough to come and meet in the middle. Edema over the uvula and soft palate are also common presenting features. The diagnosis of acute tonsillitis can easily be made on clinical examination. A thorough history and general examination will help you diagnose this condition. You can take a throat swab and send it for culture and sensitivity. The culture of the swab will usually show a group A hemolytic streptococcal infection. The advantage of this procedure is it is very simple and usually the tests are quite specific. Disadvantage of this method is being that it takes around 2 to 3 days to get a proper result. On the other hand, we have a rapid antigen detection test which can be done in the clinic itself. The report will come to you within 10 minutes. The disadvantage of this procedure is that it has a poor sensitivity. Latex agglutination or enzyme linked immunosorbent assay is another method to diagnose this condition. Management of acute tonsillitis is very important. When a patient presents to you with this condition, you're supposed to start the patient immediately with hydration. It can be orally or intravenously depending upon the condition of the patient. Analgesics like paracetamol and ibuprofen will help in reducing the edema as well as the pain. Antibiotics will help reduce the infection that is there. Warm saline or betadine gargles will provide a symptomatic relief to a certain extent for the patients. Surgical management of this condition will include interval tonsillectomy. Now, the term interval tonsillectomy means that a surgery has to be performed at least 4 to 6 weeks after the attack of infection. It cannot be done immediately during the infection or after the infection, as there are high chances of bleeding. In case of quinsy or any other abscess formation, it is necessary to do a needle aspiration or incision and drainage of the abscess. A second episode of quinsy is a mandatory indication for immediate tonsillectomy to prevent any other episodes. On examination, you will observe that these patients have a bad odor. The tongue usually is coated, and the oropharynx will show that there is redness over the pillars, soft palate, and uvula. When you will examine the neck of these patients, you can appreciate the enlarged jugulo-digastric lymph nodes, which may be tender as well. Another complication of acute tonsillitis is chronic tonsillitis. Chronic tonsillitis cases have symptoms which persist beyond 2 weeks. Patient usually presents with halitosis, white or yellowish debris over the crypts. Such patients can complicate into acute sepsis or tonsillitis. Again, the management of this is antibiotic therapy and tonsillectomy. Chronic tonsillitis will be discussed again in another chapter. Peritonsillar abscess or quinsy is one of the commonest complications of acute tonsillitis. Here, there is collection of pus in the potential space between the tonsil and the tonsillar bed. The patient will present to you with high grade fever, chills, and rigor. The patient will complain of generalized body ache, headache. There will be extreme odynophagia, that the patient will not be able to swallow his own saliva as well. This will lead to drooling of saliva from the side of the mouth. The patient will have a hot potato voice. What do you understand by the term hot potato voice? If you place anything hot over the tongue, the type of speech that you will get after that is known as the hot potato voice. The patient will have bad mouth odor. There will be ipsilateral earache. There will be trismus due to edema and spasm of the pterygoid muscles. And on neck examination, you will appreciate gross lymphadenopathy. Management of acute tonsillitis is very important. When a patient presents to you with this condition, you are supposed to start the patient immediately with hydration. It can be orally or intravenously depending upon the condition of the patient. Analgesics like paracetamol and ibuprofen will help in reducing the edema as well as the pain. Antibiotics will help reduce the infection that is there. Warm saline or betadine gargles will provide. In needle aspiration, we usually take a 18 gauge needle which is passed into the abscess directly at the most prominent part of the abscess, and the abscess is aspirated using a syringe. In incision and drainage method, usually we give a stab incision at the point which coincides with the anterior pillar and the upper part of soft palate. At that point, we are supposed to stab it with the 11 or 15 number scalpel. And then this is widened with the quinsy forceps or normal artery forceps and can be aspirated with suction. This procedure can be done under local as well as general anesthesia. Retropharyngeal abscess is one of the rare complications of acute tonsillitis. It is commonly seen in tuberculosis. What happens is that the pus gets collected between the posterior pharyngeal wall and the prevertebral fascia. This is the swelling which indicates that there is an abscess over here. Such patients will present to you with difficulty in swallowing, drooling, almost all symptoms similar to quinsy. Usually, infants and children under the age of 5 years are commonly involved. The diagnosis can be easily made by taking a lateral X ray of neck, a USG scan, or a CT neck. On examination, you will observe that these patients have a bad odor. The tongue usually is coated, and the oropharynx will show that there is redness over the pillars, soft palate, and uvula. When you will examine the neck of these patients, you can appreciate the enlarged jugulo-digastric lymph nodes, which may be tender as well. Parapharyngeal abscess usually occurs as a complication of peritonsillar and retropharyngeal abscess. Here, the infection spreads into the parapharyngeal space. The patient will present to you as severely ill child with high grade fever, severe trismus. There is severe airway compromise. The patient may or may not require a tracheostomy, and usually there is a higher risk of females to get this type of infection. The investigation can be done are USG neck as well as CT scan. The management is similar to quinsy and retropharyngeal abscess, where the patient needs to be hospitalized, started on IV fluids. Patient requires broad spectrum antibiotics and incision and drainage of the abscess. This may complicate into deep neck space sepsis, mediastinitis, or retroperitoneal sepsis if the abscess is not drained immediately. In needle aspiration, we usually take a 18 gauge needle which is passed into the abscess directly at the most prominent part of the abscess, and the abscess is aspirated using a syringe. Another complication of acute tonsillitis is chronic tonsillitis. Chronic tonsillitis cases have symptoms which persist beyond 2 weeks. Patient usually presents with halitosis, white or yellowish debris over the. Thank you for your patient listening.